Hey, folks, welcome to a podcast about Catholic things. You remember me from before, a long time ago, quite a few years ago now, the ambassador of common sense, and my partner, the ambassador of nonsense, is not here. Um, it's been a long time. What happened was we got cut off from YouTube. I think what drew the final straw was we were I think it was because we were saying transvestite instead of transgender, which I'll still do. But uh, back when they cut it off, I tried to fight it, and they said, "No, you're done. We're quitting you." And we continued recording for a pretty long time, and we put it on BitChute and Rumble. Um, and we got it. We got a few followers. Not it just, and then finally, it was really scheduling that caused us to stop recording, and that was a year or two ago. But a couple months ago, just on a whim, I thought, I'm going to try to fight because YouTube's getting a little bit more liberal and they're allowing a few more things. I'm going to see what happens. So I went ahead and tried to get the channel back, and lo and behold, it comes back. So here we are. I do notice, like, we never had a whole lot of followers, and we certainly didn't have a whole lot of views, but they were in the hundreds, uh, and now they're not. Now it's like all the views are gone for some reason. So I can't even tell what was the most popular videos and stuff, but oh well. It is back, and we're not sure what we're going to do with it. We're not sure if we're going to record again. Um, we've still got the same scheduling issues. So, but I thought I'd pop on and just say Merry Christmas to people. And I did want to talk about something. Sorry. Um, my wife and I went to a Novus Ordo a couple weeks ago, and she noticed that I wasn't going to communion. And she pointed that out and said, well, and I think the way she wanted to put it, she didn't put it quite this way, but you're real reverent and you kneel more reverently than everyone else. And you do all the things that show you have reverence, and then at communion time you don't go to communion, and it puts off the vibe that you think you're better than everyone else. And I started thinking about that. Do I really put that vibe off? I guess kind of, because all the people around me, like before Mass, just before Mass is kind of a good indicator of who you're sitting around. There's all these conversations, and a lot of boomers especially, they think this is social hour, and they come down the aisle. An old man will be walking down the aisle. He looks like a sweet old man, but he's stopping and talking in his normal talking voice to every other person, and they're having conversations about who's doing what the house, the car, things like that. And uh, just that alone, I sit and think, I think I am better than those people. Or at least, let's put it this way, I try to be better than those people. I don't want to be like them. I think that's a terrible way of being. And I want to be better than them. So I'm going to act better than them. And, maybe it's fake it till you make it. Maybe I'm not better than them, but if I continue behaving correctly, then I will be better than them. And so that's what I do. Now, we went to Novus Ordo for the Christmas Mass because TLMs, they tend to be very long for their big masses, the Christmas, the Easter. I know the Easter Mass, the High Mass in Cincinnati, someone went to it and told me that they were there for 8 hours. I can't do that. And I'm sorry, I just can't do it. So I go to the boring Novus Ordo Mass for Christmas and Easter and a few other days. And here we are at the Christmas Mass yesterday. We're at the day after Christmas, and the people around, as the crowd builds, they're talking louder and louder. Now finally they turned on the choir, I mean, I don't know. I don't care for this, that I'm pretty sure they hired a choir to come sing at this Christmas Mass. And that really gets under my skin, because you have an organist and maybe a choir somewhere in there, depending on what Mass you go to. Sometimes the organist just sings the Mass, and they're not very good, you know. But they do try, and they do show up every day. And so when you're at the big Mass, now it doesn't seem very pastoral like. I don't like that. Oh, there's some lady who shows up every week, and I guess she's paid. I guess it's the same thing. They're hiring an organist, but I do know that there are choirs that don't get paid, and they show up every week. And now for the big Mass, you're going to hire someone that's a little bit better. I don't care for that, but it seems less parish like. But that's what they do, and I would swear some of these choir members are Muslim. Some of them looked Muslim. I look at him, I'm like, hey, he's a Muslim. Maybe not. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they were members of the parish and they were just very good at singing. But also, so as more people are getting into the church, they're getting louder and louder and louder, and the conversations around me driving me nuts, get on my nerves. And I'm kneeling there, and I nudged my wife. I said, tell me again why the TLM isn't better than this, because this is awful. And my mom was singing the midnight Mass at a Latin parish, and I asked my mom, I said, you just a few minutes before Mass starts, I think it was probably kind of a long time before Mass starts when she did it, I said, could you get your phone out and just take a little video of the crowd? Because you're up high and you can see down, you can see what people are doing, and can you just take a 10-second video of this? I just want to see. Because I remember what Christmas Mass was like at the one I went to. And I'm sure all of you went to a Christmas Mass, and you know what that was like. It was just not just the people talking, the clothes that some of the women wore. Wow. I can't imagine letting my daughter dress like that anywhere. But I'd be so embarrassed to let her dress like that at church. Ugh. But she did do that for me. She took her phone out and she just took a 10-second video, which I'm going to share with you. Let's have a look here. Here, what are people doing? There's one guy. She got up and she's leaving the pew. She genuflected before she did. What's everybody doing? Most of them are kneeling. I see a couple families there. I see some kids. I don't see babies yet. Oh, there's a baby. There's a baby right there. The baby's even quiet. And I know as you get closer to the beginning of Mass, it gets a little bit more rambunctious, because you got a lot of the families with kids who are kind of wild. They wait till the last second to get there, because they don't like distracting people. And so you got a little bit of dads and moms going, shh, sit down. And you got that. But this is kind of what it's like when you go to a Latin Mass. This is what you see. And this is at a kind of a big Mass. Yeah, I would say those people are better than the people at the Novus Ordo. Not to mention, if you go to that Mass and you look at communion time, you see most of the people go to communion. You also know that most of those people went to confession within the past month. And you go to the Novus Ordos, and the priest doesn't even say anything, doesn't even mention to them, hey, this giant crowd that's here today, if you weren't at Mass last week, you've already committed a mortal sin. If you haven't been to confession in the past year, that's a mortal sin. You should not be going to communion. And I don't know. The more I think about this, the difference between the people, it's not just the Mass itself, it's the people who go to Mass. I'd rather be around TLMers. Now, I know some of them are kind of snobbish. I do know that. And there are some parishes, if you go and your kid cries or sniffles a little bit, you're going to get some hard stares. If you go and start talking, you're certainly going to get some hard stares, and you should. But I do know some of them kind of take it to the extreme. There's two here in Cincinnati, Sacred Heart and Old St. Mary's. If you go to those and you have crying kids, probably nobody's even going to notice. I certainly don't notice. We go to the early morning low Mass, and there's kids all over. And some of them scream because they're babies and they hear their voice, and sometimes they're just crying. But nobody really even pays attention to that. We're there for the Mass. And I would say, yeah, those people are better. I don't know if I'm better for going to that Mass instead of the Novus Ordo. I know that I want to be better than the people I'm surrounded by at a Novus Ordo Mass. So I try to behave better. I try to be better. Yeah, I guess I'm better. Maybe. That's up to God. How well I do on that. God's going to be the one to judge that. But I'm certainly going to try to be better than them, because I think those people I don't care for them too much. And I'd rather not be around them at all. Certainly not during Mass. So I just thought I'd drop that little thought off with an old video subscriber list that it looks like it's mostly disappeared, because we didn't get our views back, we didn't get our subscribers back. We just, oh well, it is what it is. But I'm not sure if we're going to start recording again. I can't do it until we get the scheduling things taken care of. But just wanted to drop in and say Merry Christmas to y'all.